same way we would build maneuvers in a training environment in an air-to-air engagement for ACM, for air combat maneuvering. We would have headings on the way in, and we'd keep track of our gas, where we should be each time. And so the idea was, just like training, you fight like you train, we used to say. So we would film like we trained.
Top Gun, you know, we're not the Blue Angels, nor do we profess to be the Blue Angels. But what obviously, like any flight brief, has to have a specific goal and very defined maneuvers.
We would bring the pilots in to discuss how they wanted to go about doing that. And it was kind of a combined effort of 8 or 10 people that came up with exactly what we were going to do.
Early on, for the first day of filming, we sat around and conducted a very professional brief. Unfortunately, we made the mistake of having the aerial director present. Well, we would basically decide what we're going to do. Okay, 2 aircraft are going to go by each other. It's going to be a close pass, and they're both going to turn left. And the director goes, oh, no. Then I want you to go vertical. We're like, okay. So the 2 aircraft will go by, and they'll turn left, and then they'll go, no. Now I want it to go. And it was readily apparent. It's like, hey, we need to come up with a set story here, because again, you can't. This is not a free-for-all out there. So what we actually came up with was Rat Willard, who was basically the mother hen of the gaggle up there. He was the senior. He was the executive officer at Top Gun at the time. He would actually meet with the director about an hour before the brief. And he would haggle, and they would come up with a definitive guidance on what we then were going to do. And then Rat would come in, and then we would actually construct the brief and do that. So everybody, again, it was a win-win. Everybody got what they wanted. But it was for a while there, it was a little bit. It was not constructive what was transpiring there. And it wasn't just because that they didn't do their homework, they didn't know what we could do with the airplanes.
The F-14 will be 104C, which is the camera bird. The mission commander for this Evolution 6, I'll go ahead and leave it with me. It'll be with whoever's got the lead out there, essentially what it amounts to. The second player in here is Sex, in number 46. He'll have Linz, the Air Force photographer, with him shooting handheld from the back seat. The character I play in the first event is Merlin. The second group will be Phoebes as a solo airplane, solo F-14, same F-104 Charlie. He'll be Iceman for that evolution. We've got our gear, helmets, and everything all set to go for that.
Now the brief itself, again, Rat would go ahead and decide with the aerial director what we were going to do, and then we would come in. And obviously every brief is conducted almost exactly the same. It's almost rote. You talk about administratively what we're going to do and the frequencies that we're going to use and the time that we're going to take off. And then we basically talk about the real tactical portion of the hop, which is the filming portion. And we would again draw it out on the whiteboard. Using different colors represents different individuals, and then for the real close-in stuff, we would actually go to pick up the models, which are real scale, and say, you know, this is what you should be looking at. You know, you should be looking at put your left wingtip on that diamond, and that's going to be about 40 feet, which is going to allow the camera to pick it up.
We do these flight briefings with this is the real thing we use for these flight briefings, and we'd sit at 3 a.m. with all the fighter pilots, the real guys, who were doubling for the actors, and would say, okay, we've got a camera mounted here, a camera mounted there, and Pete, you're going to do a right bank, and George, you're going to do a left bank, and so I basically storyboarded everything, and then these guys said, well, that's possible, that's not possible. Yeah.
The flying for the movie was fun. It was a lot of fun. It's not realistic compared to what we do every day. It's choreographed type flying, but it was still a lot of fun in that it's going to make the movie very exciting, I think.
We understand there's a certain amount of limitations because of what they can show on the screen. So for that reason, we had to fly in a lot tighter to, you know, we say wasn't really accurate flying. The maneuvering is accurate, but in terms of the distances and the speeds, it's inaccurate because we're living with the limitation of what you can see on the screen. That's what he tried to say.
There's a whole bunch of times when planes are chasing planes around, chasing, like gun tracking almost. Well, that's not reality. In reality, you get a split second to shoot a guy. You may shoot him head on, because we have head-on missiles now. And the idea that people chase people around trying to get Sidewinder tones, particularly down in the dirt, is not reality at all.
And we would relay that to Tony. We'd go, nah, that's not right, you know. And he would say, well, let's try it at the distances you would actually fly it. So we did that, and then come back to the daily and take a look at it, and it made no sense because the planes were so far apart as to be, you couldn't tell a story with them. You couldn't get into any of the dynamics or the danger involved. It was just like filming one airplane flying around. So, so to that extent, you know, Paramount was right, Tony was right. And so it was kind of a blending of the realism and the reality of how planes work with what it took to tell a story. And sometimes you tell a story, you paint